When I'm coaching people in Apex on movement, there's a variety of things that come up time and time again. Questions that I hear that are common amongst people that are trying to get better with movement, and I've picked out three that I think pop up the most often. And I'd like to talk about them today and how you can recognize if this is an issue in your own gameplay and how you can overcome it. I'd say by far the thing I get asked about the most is lurch strafing. So people hear the word lurch, it's become a bit of a buzzword lately. He's lurch strafing, look at all those lurches, and you have these meme strafes and neo strafes and all that stuff. And there's a lot of confusion about what it really is and how it functions, and most importantly, how to improve at it. So what a lurch actually is a directional input uh, done while your character is mid-air. And lurches only register for the first 400 milliseconds after a jump. And each lurch, whether you're going forward, side to side or back, is going to impact your directional velocity. It's going to act as like a slight nudge in the air to turn you in the direction you're lurching. And so from that description, you can see that the more inputs you could potentially get in that 400 millisecond window, the more dramatic your direction changes will be. This is why scrolling is most important, and why, we go from a Yuki strafe, which is a simple like ASD or AWD input, and then we add that scroll and those additional forward lurches let us do a sharper direction change, and that became, known as the RAS strafe. The two biggest keys to clean lurches, keeping all that previous information in mind, is going to be your scroll timing, because those forward inputs, you want to do that as soon as you're jumping to get as many scroll inputs as you can right after that jump in that brief window that you have. And also be very, very careful with your directional inputs, your ASD, your AWD, whatever, making sure not to overlap those or accidentally go from like A to D directly. Like, you always want to throw in either a forward or backward input when swapping, completely opposite directions. The other thing I get asked all the time is, how do I actually use my movement in fights? I hear people constantly say, when I'm in the firing range, I can hit the mantle jump, tap strafe, super glide, 360, meme, whatever. But, when I get in game, I just do the same slide jump and wall bounce that I've always done. How do I get past that? How do I use all this crazy stuff while I'm actually fighting? In my own experience, the only way to really overcome this is to pick a certain move tech, and for the next two or three, sessions that you're playing, over the next couple days, just focus exclusively on using that movement tech while you're traversing the map, while you're shooting, while you're dodging, while you're reloading. Just use it over and over and over and over again, and screw every other piece of move tech you're considering learning. And the reason I say that is because Apex fights are an adrenaline fueled, mash of inputs and positioning and flashing colors and sounds, and that type of environment, your brain is going to just, naturally go to whatever second nature, and that's what it's going to rely on. Those are going to be your instinctual, plays and options during a fight. And if you're trying to integrate 10 different pieces of movement tech into your gameplay all at once, your brain is just not capable of processing that much new information. And so what you have to do is just, repetition, 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 and just make that target movement tech. Let's say it's wall bounces, and you just make it your goal. I'm going to get 15 wall bounce kills today, and I am just going to, every time I see someone near a wall, I am wall bouncing on him and I am shooting him in the head. And you just do that over and over again, and after a week, you're going to be wall bouncing in every single fight, and you're not even really going to notice it. And you can just do this with every single move tech. Just pick one, force yourself to use it until it's second nature, and then you move on to the next. The third and final thing isn't so much a question, but a common misunderstanding that I see about what exactly makes movement powerful in Apex. I see discussions all the time where people say, all this movement is useless. I'm just going to beam you anyway. You're just flying around and you're missing all your shots. Why even bother with all of this? And my answer to that is, to me, movement is about having options in a fight. There are gaps that you can only close with a wall bounce or a super glide. There are routes that you can only take with some advanced movement tech, be it a tap strafe around a corner or a wall surf, or whatever it is. And the more options you have, the more ways you can surprise your opponent, the more ways you can push or escape from your opponent. And, that I think is the most powerful thing. I don't think anybody would argue with the statement that positioning is one of the most important skills you can hone in Apex. And to me, I think movement goes hand in hand with that, because the more movement tools you have in your pocket, the more ways you can create advantageous positioning for yourself. And I think that's the stumbling block actually for most people, where they see movement as this band-aid where they're going to be Neo and just dodging like five people shooting at them. But really, movement can't replace the other fundamentals of positioning and aim and team play and all those things, but it can serve to enhance those fundamentals so that you get the maximum value out of your abilities, or the maximum value out of your shots. If you think these tips were helpful in any way, please drop a like and subscribe, and comment if there's any other movement questions you have for me, and I'll do my best to answer them. I also offer private one-on-one movement coaching, so shoot me an email if you're interested in that. Thank you. Bye.